Grace and peace, everyone. This is Deborah Henderson-Scott of Unlimited Opportunities Promotional and Marketing Solutions. We do everything from business cards to wrapping the bus. So if you need it, we got it. I want to welcome you to this episode of The Business Buddy, where we are talking with our special guest, Tori Michelle. Tori Michelle is the CEO of Bigger Nets. She's a faith-based entrepreneur who specializes in the health and beauty market as well as healthcare industry. She's a motivator of empowering women, and she goes by the tagline, "You can't argue with work." And that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about being resilient in your life, being resilient in business. And when you can't argue with work, you'll get stuff done. So stay tuned. The conversation has already begun. And when I say conversation, it's just that. We have others who've been following this podcast for a while jump in and chime in because we have real life solutions for real life problems. So again, stay tuned, enjoy the conversation, and like and share for more. I'm Deborah Henderson-Scott of Unlimited Opportunities Promotional and Marketing Solutions. If you need it, we got it. Thank you for tuning in.
This conference will now be recorded.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's 5 after 7, and we are going to get started. And whatever you need, we got it for you. So I'm going to start this introduction tonight. This business buddy event is being co-sponsored by Bigger Net, and we're going to talk about being resilient. All of those who are in business know that there's some times when things go well and things go not so well. And it's the test of your strength that keeps you going. And we're going to have a real conversation about those disappointing moments, those setbacks and challenges that we may have in running our daily lives, running our family, and trying to run a successful business. And tonight we have our special guest speaker, um, Tori O'Hanna from Bigger Nets. And she is a serial entrepreneur like myself, and many of you are on here um, at a very young age. I think her first business was when she was like 14 years old, if I remember correctly. But the girl's been a hustler all her life. And as an adult mother with three babies, it ain't changed, and it's getting better and bigger. And now her mission is so great. So without further ado, I'm going to let you speak. And Minister O'Hanna or Minister Tori, go ahead and tell your story, baby.
Oh, hi everybody. I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. Definitely humbled and honored, and I hope everyone is doing okay, and I hope everyone stays continually blessed. Um, I am the owner of Bigger Nets, and I am a navigational system to help healthcare industries, so help them navigate through compliance um, and anything that they need to stay connected locally, federally, um, and state as far as state compliance. So that's a whole big umbrella, but it's a lot of details that go under that. So pretty much I keep everybody organized and tell them where to go at different points of their healthcare business in different aspects and avenues. So we're talking about perseverance. The biggest thing is, in order to be able to be a help or be a service to anyone else, you got to be a master of organizing chaos, because services are produced from people having problems. So how we have businesses is because we're naturally problem solvers. If we weren't problem solvers, then nobody would come to us for help, and that's what creates revenue for us, and that's what creates network and relationships. So to master anyone else's problem, you have to be good at mastering your own. And one of the biggest keys that help me is to always understand who you are in every process, because that is never going to change. Who you are and what you bring to the table is never going to change. The problem may change, the people that are in the problem may change, but who you are is never going to change. So that's something that I feed daily, feeding who Tori is. If I'm adding to it, if I'm taking something away that might not help, that's your foundation, knowing who you are, not losing identity. And Deb, you can come in and cut me off at any time you want, but that was the major thing for me, was making sure that I maintain my identity at all times, because in service sometimes ambition gets ahead of us, and we want to be everything to everyone, and you can't be everything to everyone all the time, but you can be who needs you. And the only way to be successful in that is knowing who needs you and not changing who you are to be able to provide that need successfully. And knowing that everybody is not your person, everybody is not going to be your team. Being able, identity is
Right.
big. So once you're able
Absolutely.
to, yeah, so once you're able to pinpoint who you are, as far as integrity, being honorable, being forthright, um, being dependable. Once you master that, then the foundation is built, and anything else that comes along is what's going to sustain you and keep you going. So when storms come, like in my health, I had a big storm come in my health that kind of knocked my whole family off their feet, and it made me sit still. And I was just like, I went through a whole emotional thing, like, oh my God, am I valuable? Like, I don't know if I can do my business like this. I'm down. And that's when I was
Right.
able to pull out that identity was everything. And I just had to figure out a different way to do Tori. But as long
Right.
as I knew who Tori was, then the legs would come, the hands would come. I wasn't as handicapped as I thought. I just had to figure out a different way to be me, if that makes
And
sense.
that you bring up a valuable point there, because you said earlier that not everybody is your customer. And when you're just starting out in business, it takes a long time, and sometimes it's often hard to figure it out that
Mm-hmm.
everybody's not your customer. Because, when I started 17 years ago, my whole mission
Hmm.
was I want to be the marketing guru to all small black businesses. They're going to buy me because I'm black and I'm trying to show them how to do this thing right. And that was not
Hmm.
the case. They devalued your service. They didn't want to pay you. They want to
Hmm.
question you. But take that same idea and go to the next person, next race, and
Hmm.
buy it without question. No questions at all. And want a nickel and
And
dime you for every piece of the project.
you're
So
you're naming all of it. And I learned that being sick. That's how I knew who I was in my business.
right.
Because when adversity comes, that's how you know what is sticking. and
Hmm.
and actually those great customers, like your customers, your village, they come out in adversity, and
They
they're
do.
loyal,
They
and
do.
and they bring way more to the table than a lot of people who just need you but don't value you.
Right.
And that's why adversity is important. They call them, growing pains. It's important because it separates.
It does.
It
It does.
separates. It separates. Go ahead.
And then a lot of times as business owners, they say we people buy from people you like. But I've learned over the years not just to buy from people who I like, buy from people with character, because the character is what's going to that's going to tell you how faithful they are. You know what I mean? So when I go to I
Mhm.
have a promotional products firm. So when I go to select a vendor to help me reach my customer needs, I'm not buying your product because you're the cheapest or the smartest or the fastest.
Mhm.
I'm buying you because I value your services and I trust your character. Because there's plenty of people out there who do what I do, but they do it shadedly, you know? So
Mhm.
if your name is not right, if you just out here
Yes.
wheeling and dealing, shaking hands with people just because you got a pretty smile and you can get a
Mhm.
crowd to say yay yay yay, that doesn't necessarily mean your
Mhm.
money is good for my business and for my brand. And sometimes you got to separate the personality and look at the character of the person. And then when you know your
Yes.
character, you can build relationships based on your character, and you can put those same people who have the
Yes.
same mindset, the same characteristics as you, and value your visions and your business to grow your team. So when you're hiring people, you want to look at people's character. When you're doing business with people, when you're going into contracts
Mhm.
with people, you have to look at their character. Man, I can tell you times,
Mm.
and I shared this last year when I went into business with a government contract with somebody, and I was the small business. They were supposed to be the big business, right? And they were supposed to get
Yeah.
some a certain percent of the business to me because I was a woman-owned business. They just used
Mhm.
my name because I was a woman-owned business. So what that taught me
Mm.
was just because we're making a connection, that I needed to make myself known to the big partners too, because at any
Mm.
given time, if that character of the partner wasn't good, he could have threw me under the bus and just used my name and service saying I'm
Mhm.
helping a black owned business grow. And a lot of times,
Mm.
especially being a female business owners, you'll see that the male counterparts will try to get over on us. And when you
Mm.
speak up for yourself, then you're being a bossy person.
Mm. The
So,
other thing the other thing that I wanted to point out too is your posture when that adversity comes.
right,
Ride with it, ride with it, put it on, wear it, because what it does is it produces a lion or a lioness out of you. For example, I was on chemo. I mean, I'm still doing chemo, but I was on chemo and I'm working from my bed, and my customers was like, I thought you sent out a memo saying you was going to be in the hospital and you were going to be down. I was like, yeah, but I just I wanted to check on y'all and make sure that you was all right. So I was doing Zoom calls from my bed, and my customers had to let me know, girl, I don't know. I think I like this sick version of you because you're not letting up. You're fighting. And so allow the adversity to push that new fire that you need, because it's attractive. That fire is very attractive, and it makes the customers know that, dang, if she do this sick, she gonna
right,
move for me. She's not gonna take no for an answer. Even if no comes, she's not gonna take no for an answer. So when adversity comes, I don't want you to look at it like, oh man, we down. No, it's something that you can get out of every season. There's a time for everything, and each time is important. And I'm thankful for my adversity because it pulled something out of me that made me more attractive to my market. And then it
right.
also pushed the market away that was not valuing my time and my dedication.
That
If
that is
that
so
makes
true.
sense.
We have someone, Kim, on the chat saying it's so true. She's a contact creator, and that is a definite quality to keep in mind as she moves forward to subscribers and follow their reactions rather than gain a community that is really interested in what she's creating. So yeah, you have to
Mhm.
be creative with that, especially when you're content creators, because those trolls will get on
Mhm.
there, and some of them love you, and then some of them be like dogging you out
Mhm.
for the simplest thing, like, girl, why your eyelash look like that, like dumb stuff. And just to throw you off your character,
Yep.
and you have to be thick-skinned
Mhm.
in that movement too, especially when you in the world of social media where everybody just
Mhm.
thriving to live behind the camera to be bought, like they put their big girl draws on because
Yes.
they tough then. They can say all these mean things
Mhm.
and ain't doing nothing for themselves. But so I
The,
applaud people like him that's content creators because that's creativity and you still putting out a service to the world. So kudos to you for that. That's bold
yes,
right there.
yes. And the
So
other thing too,
go ahead.
go
How do
ahead.
you
No, I was saying
so
that,
we're talking about being resilient through your business and you've shared a similar story to mine. You know I was also admitted to the hospital this weekend and even today, just getting out yesterday, still having technical difficulties, was doing the exact same thing. In the media, in the hospital, meeting, trying to conduct interviews and close sales deals and set up grants for people in my hospital bill with no internet service on a cell phone that was dying on 1%. And and the one boy was like to the point where I had to say, you know what, I can't do this more. I'm gonna let my niece Ashley talk to you so she could tell you more about the program because I couldn't even connect. But he was like, wow, I can't even believe
mhm,
you came on an interview and you in the hospital bed. So, but you're right. It made
mm,
him want to work more for my company.
yep.
So,
The other thing that I realized too during adversity is you got to identify the capacity of the team. Some of us are working solo, um, and then some of us are working solo with a team that's in our, our everyday lives, that's helping us keep our day to day going while we focus on the business. And then some of us have teams within our business. You got to make sure that when adversity comes, that as you're building it, the team builds capacity for adversity, and everybody is not like sitting back and like, getting so comfortable. We're always preparing for adversity. So that means we're going hard when there's peace. So that when
and
the
then
storm
that's true.
comes,
That's true.
we're
That's
not
true.
kicked, we're not kicked off the boat.
Mhm. And
We're going hard.
you do that by communicating. When your team believes in its leadership, they ride for you. And now
Yep.
there's big organizations when adversity comes, everybody's bad on the ship because they don't believe in and they don't trust in leadership. That's the quality of a good leader. When your team can ride for you,
Mhm.
knowing what you're going through and knowing that they got your back, it makes the business so much
Mhm.
easier to grow because now we all are striving for the same goal and purpose. Our why may not be the same,
Mhm.
but for some reason they believe in the vision that you've set forth for them as a leader. And
Yep.
I
And
did a
you.
podcast the other day saying, because it's time right now to set um, sales forecasts. And when your team believes on you, you can give every department a sales forecast to meet. Everybody knows the numbers, everybody's going to reach those goals. But that only happens
Mhm.
if you're communicating your leadership, you're communicating your purpose, and you're allowing people to operate in their gifts.
Mm.
So so that'll help as well with dealing with adversity. The question I had for you is, um, because we all have life challenges, we all have family to take care of, we all have um, loved ones that we love, we all have personal lives, relationships. As a female business owner, it's often quite difficult for us to cut off mommy mommy wife role to businesswoman role because everybody expects mommy to always be mommy, wife to always
Mm.
be wife. How do you handle juggling all of that? And are those times where you feel like, you know what, I missed it there? I missed it there. I should
Mm.
have been at Johnny's Little League game, but I had this conference call. Or I should have been at this conference call, but my daughter's going on a prom tonight. Like those moments when you feel like
Mhm.
I'm failing as a mom and I'm failing in business because I'm trying to be present everywhere. Can you speak to that?
Yes. One of the things that I learned early on when I was getting like railroad with everything at one time, and I go back to identity. I had to tap into that. My purpose. I'm a teacher at heart. And one of the biggest things that I learned is that your gift will make room for you. And when people think of that from a biblical sense, an encouragement sense, they just think of, oh, okay, my gift is just going to make room for me in this particular area. No, your gift makes room for you in all areas of your life. So I say that to say my gift is to teach.
Mhm.
So I had to learn that in all classrooms of life, whether it's business, me raising my children, being in my marriage, I had to teach everyone how to treat my gift so
Well,
that
you better
my
say that
gift,
again.
I, I had to teach everyone and teach my loved ones how to treat my gift so that my gift doesn't get burnt out. Because after everybody leaves me from receiving, I have to restore that because that's what I'm giving out of. So
Right.
my gift is teaching, so I'm teaching my children. My gift is teaching, so I'm teaching my husband. My gift is teaching, so I'm teaching my staff. I'm teaching everybody that your time is at this time. Okay, your day is this day. So, and I learned that teaching was something that I had to continually do so that everything would flow. So I teach every day so that the days that I don't know are coming, that are really hard, that could throw everybody off, I have already prepared everybody for those days in advance because I do my gift every day. So
Right.
you don't just do your gift in your business. You do your gift in your family so that whatever door you open or whatever door you walk into, there's room. There's room for improvement. There's room for peace. There's room for joy. There's room for more money because you're not overwhelmed. That's what makes room when you're operating in your gift properly and not just tying it off to, oh, I'm only going to teach when I'm doing the business. No, I have to teach my children. I got to teach my children how to handle my business. And so we do that
Right.
every day. So then they respect it, they honor it, and they identify, mommy's using her gift in the business. So this is my time to be quiet. Or my husband, Tori is using the gift in the business. So this is my time to fill in and help the kids. We have to teach. When you stop teaching, then you
Mhm.
tell the gift you don't want it to work.
Right.
So
That's
knowing
true.
that you always sit in the head of a teacher and you have to teach your atmosphere what you want it to do. So just operating in authority more often. Don't wait for everything to pile up on you. Tell it where you want it to go. And just you have to advocate for every room that you want to enter in your life beforehand. Not you don't get there and then start advocating. You advocate before. What is it that I need to be successful? And that's how you keep the fires out. And I just keep that routine. I teach my whole life. You never
It
put your gift down. That's the
never
key.
put your that's the key of balance as well as being resilient. Now, talking about your gift and operating your gift, um, how do you handle disappointment from prospects? Like you like me, we do big contracts, and there's
Mhm.
some contracts that look so attractive. You be like, yay, 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 and then all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under it. Um, what are some
Mhm.
of the moments or the ways that you bounce back? Because I personally I'm a crier. I be like, oh shoot, I put all my
I
all to that, and I cry for a minute, then I regroup. Okay, now why didn't that work? How do you handle
mhm.
those type of disappointments when relationships kind of go sour and you're not quite sure why?
Mhm. uh, Teaching because I teach myself that everyone will not know you.
Mhm.
Everyone will not receive you. Everyone doesn't have the capacity for you. So
Right,
every room that you go in, no matter what they decide, no matter how they perceive you, they're not you. They did not make you, and they can't take what you have. And there's always another room to go into.
right, right.
That's
Yeah,
it.
that's true.
No's no's don't matter to me. No, no's don't take away what I have.
Absolutely. I
The only
tell
thing you
my
worry about, the only thing you cry about is what's going to take it.
I tell that to my kids all the time. That I don't hear the word no. I hear next opportunity. So every time I hear the word no, it does stun me, but I'll be like, okay, on to the next because it just means that wasn't my client for this particular season, but I'll have another one in that same realm
Mm,
later on, and that's bigger and better. So I look at my nose as the next opportunity. And for some reason, because I'm walking intentionally in my business and I'm seeking and being
mm,
prayerful, even though this is a business buddy form, my spirituality plays a part in how I operate my business. So I
mhm.
trust God because He gave me this gift. And I trust him to lead me into those
Yep.
doors that's going to be open for me. I trust his favor in my life. I trust that he illuminates my path. So sometimes when I hear those no's and I see those no's, then I'm saying somewhere along the line, Debbie, you missed the boat. You fell out of alignment. Your steps are ordered, and you fell down the path that led you to a no instead of being led by the Holy Spirit. So a lot of times those no's operate because you did a misstep. You didn't cross your T's and dot
Yep.
your I's. And that's another thing that could happen when you're cluttered, when you feel cluttered and uncertain and
Mhm.
there's chaos all around you. Like when my desk is a hot mess, I can't think. You know, when I know I got
No.
a bunch of laundry done, I can't think. And sometimes it takes me to
Mhm.
delegate those things out of my life so that I can be focused on what
Mm.
needs to be done here. So I just wanted to share that. Does anyone else have any tips? Or feel free to jump in, y'all, because this is an open conversation. I see I see you in the chat a lot, and Kim normally has a lot to say. But I know she's caring, doing her work and caring. She's being resilient, like we all doing. She's multitasking right now. So, but she's taking time to feed her creativity, feed her business, and learn new things. And this particular session again is just talking about being resilient because it is hard. It's hard as a female business owner. It's hard as a mom. It's hard just being a business owner. You don't have to be a female business owner. It's
Mhm.
hard. It takes dedication, and you definitely have to know your why to be able to continue doing this. And it's a
Yeah.
lot. Hey
Hey,
Kim.
hey Deb, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, hi, Tori. So nice to meet you.
Hi. Nice to meet you, Miss Kim.
Thank you, thank you. I was on my laptop, but for some reason you couldn't hear me. Speaking of what, yes, of just taking time out and making sure you're doing everything you should do. I just got back. This is a good day for me, actually. Tuesdays typically, I'm um, I'm with my parents all day, and usually I'll be just getting home now, but today was an early day, so I was able to come home and have dinner with my husband and eat real quick and come downstairs. And so now I'm listening to you. I'm doing my workout at the same time. That's why you don't see me all the time, because I'm, you know, getting my exercise on. And so that's what I'm doing in order to make sure that when tomorrow comes, because Wednesday typically now is a day that I can work on my business. And so I'll be able to get some work done on my business tomorrow. I'll be rested, and so I have developed a somewhat of a schedule. Mom and Dad are in a place where now I can kind of get a good schedule going, unless something happens where I have to leave immediately. But yeah, it's about timing and trusting and knowing where the Lord has you to be, no matter what.
No
And
matter what.
one thing I always typically do is in my quiet time with the Lord. I always bring the business to Him. It's His. I've
Mm.
committed it to Him, and and I want to make sure that even though I believe that this is where He wants me to be, I always ask Him, Lord, is this the direction where you want me to go?
Right.
And is this still where you want me to be? And so far it's a yes, and I'm very thankful. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm making any money yet, but that'll come. Right now, I'm just building my clientele and building my craft and getting better and better in what I'm doing and how to present and things like that. Oh gosh, I have so much to say. You're right, Deb.
But you're right. But because you're so busy, not only are you're running your business, you're trying to be committed to your church family, you're trying to take care of your
Yeah.
parents, you're trying to be a wife, you're trying to be a container, um, producer and creator, and you still have to find you. You still have to
Yeah.
have time for you. So I like the fact that amongst all that busyness you got on, you doing something to take care of you, and that's exercising. Because if you're not good, how you gonna be good to anybody else? So
Amen.
that's
Mhm.
the resilience of it. You have to
Amen.
stay focused and aligned in your purpose, and again, bring it all to the Lord or whoever you call your higher power. But you have to be connected in purpose, and that's why I love the name of your business, Seasons on Purpose, because
Yeah.
it's a seasoned thing. It's not going to be just like that and it's done. It takes time to build the business. It takes time to
Yeah.
build those habits. It takes time to get yourself into the routine. And once you get there, then you gotta teach it to somebody else to duplicate it so
Amen.
you can don't be burned out by it. You know,
Amen.
eventually you want to be able to pass this on to generation to generation to generation.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes they might not want it, but at least you taught somebody how to do what you want to do, even if it's not your own kids. If somebody intern want to learn how to do marketing, somebody intern want to learn how to cook, somebody
Yeah.
intern want to learn how to be an administrator for the healthcare systems and navigate that whole hot mess up there in PA.
That's
You
the
know,
truth.
and that's a hot mess trying to get all those government contracts and
God bless.
forms and
That's
policies signed. That's organization, and don't nobody want to be nobody got time for that, but somebody
mm,
got to do it, right?
Somebody
that's
got to do it.
Somebody
somebody.
got to do it. If we want healthcare, somebody got to be a healthcare provider,
That's right.
and so, but I applaud the fact that not only did you see the need, like in Tori's case, she was working in that industry and she was like, well, wait, I know how to do this, and I see
Mm,
all these people struggling to get through these hoops. I can service that need. I can solve that problem. And
Yes.
once you come or operate out of a place of servanthood, it works.
it
You know,
does work.
Yeah.
you found a
Especially,
solution that
especially,
works.
especially Miss Kim realizing that parents was getting older and grandparents were getting older and trying to figure out how you going to take care of everybody and make money too. So
Yeah.
that's what
Right.
even introduced me to the healthcare market, where it's just like I can't put my family down to take care of my loved ones. So we're gonna have to do something where everybody can kind of be in autopilot. And that's what came with that too. So
Yeah.
turning problems into solutions so that we can get into other doors and
Hmm.
Right.
don't have to be stuck in one door. In
Hmm.
in networking, things like this is what helps, because you're gonna find your piece. And that's why I name my business Bigger Nets.
Mm.
There's a net. There's a net that you're going to connect to that's going to make who you are bigger
Figure,
and
yep.
more marketable to a
Amen.
market that you haven't seen yet. So when
Hmm.
we connect like this in twos and threes, like, and God is in the midst, like
And
you
yes.
you can't stop.
Right.
Yes.
You can't stop. Somebody has an answer. Somebody got an answer to one of your problems. And every day you just keep answering the problem, you're going to get closer and closer and closer to what it is you're put on this earth to do. But you
Mm,
don't
Right.
stop. You don't
mm,
stop putting out the fires. You don't stop helping your loved ones. You keep being you. And that's why identity is everything. Know who you are in
yeah.
God always. Know who you are in God
Absolutely.
always. This other stuff is going to come, and it's going to change. But know who you
Mm.
are in God and don't compromise that for anything or
Mm,
anyone.
Yeah. And that's another thing too. You mentioned about the network, but you also got to be teachable, because
yes.
a lot of us
Yes.
we sit in corners and we sit in rooms and we shrink down or we sit in rooms and we boast because we turn our nose up at things. Sometimes a humble spirit will get you more knowledge because you're sitting there absorbing from those who've been down this path. And a lot of us, especially in this, I would say the millennials that I've come across during my interns, like just interviewing my interns, they know so much and they have no patience at all. At all. And but they when they get into
Mhm.
a room of networking, they don't know how to communicate because all they do is text. They text and they want everything fast
Mm.
and or DIM. And so when I'm trying to teach them how to work a room, do your pitch for 30 seconds. They're like, do I have to go talk to her? Or they don't look people in their eye. They don't know how to shake people's hand, and they have real short answers to a person's questions. And it's like pulling teeth to
Mhm.
engage them just so you can learn how to work the business. And so it's really difficult at times when you're in a room and there's money in the room, but you're scared to show who you are and you're scared to learn from those who know more than you. I always tell people you
Right.
cannot be afraid to ask questions. You cannot be afraid to ask what you don't know. You cannot be afraid to say, "Can I shadow you for a moment?" Do you have
Mm.
can I just pick your brain for one moment? I mean, and if they say no, then okay, you find the next one. Somebody will tell you. And if not, YouTube is in the words of my granddaughter, YouTube and TikTok teach me everything. But it doesn't. But it has a lot of helpful content, you know. So be teachable in your quest for owning your business because somebody knows the next technology. So like I didn't know.
Mhm.
I'm old school. I used to do everything by a date book, and it took one of my young um cohorts. We had the same business, our call center, and she was like, "Why are you doing this way? Use Trilio." And I showed y'all that last week, and I was like, "Trilio?" She said, "Online. Do it online." I'm like, "What?" So it took me a minute to start doing stuff online, but once I got the hang of it, baby, it's so much easier. And I refused to let it go before. I was like, no, I got to have my little notebook. I got notebooks all over. I got a journal. Now I put that stuff on the computer and back it up because I did lose my stuff before having everything on the computer. So make sure if you put it on the computer, back it up. But you got to be teachable. You definitely got to be teachable. Definitely got to be teachable. Of course, my mom gonna call when I'm when I'm on a Zoom, but um, yeah,
Yeah,
be
I forgot
teachable, y'all.
that I was going to be in a meeting. She may or may not call. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. So, Tori, we have a few more moments left. Is there anything else you want to say about being resilient, overcoming obstacles, and I'm gonna turn my camera on just so y'all can see how much of a hot mess I look like, and then
Oh, good.
forgive me because I am just coming out of the hospital. But
You
It's
look fine.
but
okay.
is there anything else
Yeah.
that you want to share, with us about being resilient?
Just take your time. Take your time and don't beat yourself up for not getting everything done in one shot. Add it to the next list. I make plenty of lists. And what gets done off that first list, okay, it gets done. What doesn't get done, it goes over to the next list. It'll get done.
It'll get
Amen.
there.
That
It'll
it'll
get
get
there.
done.
Administer grace to yourself.
And
Yes. You
Administer
know
that
grace.
that I really had to learn. And prior to me becoming the official care, I'm not official, unofficial, official, however way you want to work it, caretaker for my parents. I was doing a pretty good job in being consistent with my content, getting it there every week or whatever. And then one thing and another added to me missing almost a month because I at the moment at that time I you know you in my opinion, because I went through it, your brain can only take so much.
Hmm.
And
mm,
when I was involved with helping my parents and other things were going on, I just did not have the mental capacity to to create and to post and to edit and all that stuff. So I really did take a break. And that was grace for me. I administered grace to myself. I said, you know what? And in speaking with a friend of mine who is an excellent content creator in my mind, one of her comments was on a regular Twitter. Well, not Twitter. I'm looking at Trillio. um, YouTube will be there, and it was, and it waited for me. And I may have lost a little bit of ground, but I'm at a place now where I'm as one of the, and I'll stop here. One of the items that I created, or the Lord created in the midst of all of this craziness, was my Monday segments. I was using it as a filler, and I called it Marvelous Mondays. But now it's something that's no longer a filler. It's something that I put out every Monday. And I am expecting that to just grow. Sometimes I get, a lot of views, but you know what? That to me doesn't matter if I get one view or 1,000 views. It's something that I really believe in my heart that this is where the Lord wants me to go with regard to Marvelous Mondays. And so it's no longer a filler. It's something that I put out there every week, and it's to me it's marvelous.
And that's a good
Yeah,
observation too, because if
yeah,
when you take a break, and sometimes, like you said, your followers will be there because they were loyal. They may fall off, say, "Oh, where's she at?" And then when they find you again, they'll like and share all over again. But
yeah.
if you don't have that peace in your mind, you can't be creative. That's the same thing I was saying about the clutter, because clutter will bog you down. It will it will disrupt your
Mm,
purpose if you're not sure what's going on. If so much things is twirling in your world, it's just
mm,
like a hurricane, and you're sitting there in the eye of the storm, and everything just going like this, going
yeah.
like this, and all your ideas is going out this like that with the storm. So when you settle your mind again, that's when you'll be able to create. That's when you'll be able to be productive. But you can't do it in the midst of chaos. But you
Mm-mm.
still have to be purposeful in the chaos. You got to
Yes.
know when to sit yourself down and say, "Hold up, I'm out of order. I'm out of
Yeah.
line right now. I need to
Mm,
put myself on timeout." And it's okay.
And it's
It's
okay.
definitely okay. It's definitely okay.
definitely okay.
Well, um, anything else you want to share?
Mm, that's it.
Well,
I put
this has
myself
been.
on time out a lot.
Yes, I have to too, because I think the who gonna check me is the famous letter that girl from the housewife said. Who gonna check me, boo? You check yourself, because you
Me?
know when you out of order. You
Right.
know when you out of order. When you out of order,
Yeah.
you can't operate. Put the do
And you
not
know what?
disturb sign on.
And when you come back to me, I'm more at peace now than I ever was. I'm
Right.
I'm more at a level of, I haven't, thank God I'm over 500 subscribers. And even that to me is a miracle, that little old, who is, in the scheme of things with billions and billions of people on YouTube, and yet I have over 500 subscribers. That's a big deal.
That's a big
You
deal. Yes, it is.
know, I don't have 1,000 yet, but I'm good. I'm good. I'm making it. I'm getting
You
there.
cruising.
I'm
Yes.
cruising. But I'm
And
at
you
peace.
having fun doing it too. So that's
Mhm.
you
Out of
enjoying
fun.
what you're doing in your retirement.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
Yes, I've taken out the stressful part of it. Yes, you get stressed out, but I've removed the stressful part of it, and now I'm enjoying myself, and I'm loving it, and I still see seasoned on purpose out there. I still see it where people are going to be blessed by it. by the thousands, and I still see
Mm,
seasonal purpose in department stores and things like that. So,
mm.
that that's the Lord's business.
That's
I'm
right.
just here for the ride.
That's right. That's right.
See
Well,
it, see it,
thank
see
I thank you all for jumping on this business buddies empowerment session, I want to call it, because this was all about being resilient and
Yeah,
sharing our tips on how to be prosperous on purpose, basically. Because yeah, life is going to throw us some hiccups, and that's just life. But if you sit there and say, "Well, was me," and get stuck, you'll just be stuck.
amen.
Um, I like to say to my kids all the time, the storm is coming, and if you just stay standing in the rain, you just getting
Mm,
rained on. Keep
mm,
moving anyway,
mm.
just keep moving, and,
Move.
and you'll be resilient and all that, because resiliency is such a hard thing to teach young people when they don't understand difficulties, when they don't
it.
understand disappointments. And
Yes,
sometimes you have to take your disappointments and use them as a lesson to what's next in your life. And
yeah,
that's what I would like to encourage you. Yep, it's not going right now. Yep,
yeah,
you had a goal. It's December. You had a goal of this much profit, and you nowhere near where you want to be. That don't mean you shut your business down right now. That means you
right,
take these last few months, you make some adjustments, and you plot out what 2023 going to look like for your business, and where you
Mm,
failed at, or not failed, but where you missed the mark, we go recess that thing.
yeah,
That's why it's called a living document. Your business plan is a living document. It can be changed.
mm,
Anything you're doing in your business can be changed. You can correct anything that was wrong. So
mm,
don't look at your disappointments in business right now and say, I'm giving up. I can't do this no more. Don't look
mm.
at the disappointments in your marriage unless it's a physically abusive marriage, but don't let it tear you down. Don't let those little hiccups stop you. Because what I found out in life, that once when you ready to meet your mark, everything but the kitchen sheet gonna come at you. They gonna
That's
throw it.
mm,
The enemy's job is to throw
mhm.
everything he got at you to stop you from reaching your goal. And I know how I know that. I'm gonna give you this week as my final testimony, as an example. I haven't had an asthma attack in years.
Mm.
But
mm.
this what I got going on. I just signed a huge contract with one of the federal agencies where my business is going to be supplying their whole awards and recognition program for a huge part of the military.
Oh my gosh.
I can't be sick now. I
Congratulations.
got millions of people that I'm trying to reach to teach business to. I got contract. I got about 6 or 7 personal clients that I'm mentoring, and I can't be sick now. But now my lungs not gonna fill up. The devil is a
Mm.
liar.
Yes.
The devil
And,
is a liar.
and
Because today,
sometimes
go ahead.
that comes to reset you
Yep,
in an area that you might be missing
Mm-hmm.
yep,
and take the reset. Even
yep,
though it'd be like, no, 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 I'm doing good. I'm going this way. I'm going this way. Sometimes it's just a recess because sometimes you think better when you don't have everything working
That's
yes,
because
good.
this got to work better.
yep,
This has to work better.
yep,
And sometimes we just work better cognitively when the other parts are not as strong. And
Mm-hmm.
yes,
sometimes you need the cognitive more than you need the rest of your abilities. Not saying that they're not important. You need your lung, but
yeah.
it's something that you need to see
See, yeah,
cognitively without running around. Because sometimes we do a lot of running around, but we're not really hitting the mark. We not
yes,
execute. We just running.
yes,
And some things you need stillness to be able to pursue. And that's what I'm learning
absolutely,
too. I
Man,
I was able to conquer a lot of territory in stillness because some things
yes.
you have to sit still. You got to sit
Yes.
still because some seasons, some things are going to come to you. So if you moving, then you're going to miss the things that's supposed to come to you. And the Bible talks about how there is a time for everything. And
Yep.
one of
Ecclesiastes
the things that
one, baby. That's it.
yes it is. And one of the biggest things on there, he said there's a time to embrace, but
Mm-hmm.
then he said there's a time to refrain
Mm-hmm.
from embracing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And the refraining from embracing, you like, what, God? What do you mean? Don't embrace. Some things is not meant for you to get in movement, but
Right.
only in stillness.
Right.
So so you have to accept the transitions, because then you won't be able to exercise that tool that's going to produce something different that you've never
Absolutely.
seen before.
Mm.
Stillness is a tool.
I know that's
Stillness
right.
is a tool. And so
I
I
know
had to
that's right.
learn how to use stillness and not always be able to thrive in a chaotic environment. I'm used to thum, 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 thum. Just because you thrive in it, just because you do good in it, doesn't mean that's the timing of
Yeah.
this season. You got to
That's true.
name the time. You got to know what
Mm.
kind of time you're in. It might not
That's
Yeah.
be the time for you to move fast. It might be the time for you to sit, and then at 3 o'clock you get that phone call that solves all your problems. But if you're
Absolutely.
not still, you're not
mm,
still. You got to know when you're supposed to be still, because your voice can't be louder than God's voice. And that's what makes our identity different than everybody else. So you can't never
You
feel
better talk.
defeated. You
I'm
can't
telling
never feel like you missed the mark. You can't never feel like, dang, I missed out. No, no weapon formed against us is not going to prosper.
I
God
know that's right.
he is the God of time for us. So
yes.
if he holds time still, then that means he did it for a reason. And
Absolutely.
you just govern yourself accordingly. But
You hear
don't
that,
move
Dad?
past
You
God's
hear that, Dad?
timing.
You
Kim
listen,
said that to
Dad?
she said that to me the other day, and you're absolutely right because sitting in that hospital, you would be able to see all the stuff I got done for the nonprofit because I was
Mm,
still
come
instead of
on.
always working
Still.
for that. You're
That's
right.
right.
Yes. You gotta know when your still place is driving this thing. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
you might be fighting against it. And Paul called it the thorn, but you don't know what it's being used for.
Oh
It's your
my.
thorn, but it's being used to drive you to a place that you've never seen before, which is your
Absolutely.
faith. We have operated in our works, but have you ever operated in your faith? The
Well,
operating in your faith, it takes a stillness. It doesn't take
Yes.
you doing a whole bunch. So I believe, I guess let me prophesy. I believe that in 2023, it is your faith that's going to get you the results that you
Amen.
never seen
absolutely.
before.
Yes.
Absolutely. I
It's
received
Yes.
it's,
that.
it's going to straight up, hands down. It's going to be your faith. It's going to be one of those stories like, I didn't see it coming.
I didn't
I
see it
did not see this
coming.
coming.
Yes.
Yep.
I did
I
not see this
received that.
coming. But
Amen.
faith is the substance of things hoped for and the
Yes.
evidence of
And
things not seen.
mm-mm.
So you got to be still so you don't miss it. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? You got to be still. So it's the stillness. It's the stillness of God. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. And we've been moving a long time, and sometimes God just wants to blow a wind of rest. You
Yeah.
because I don't want you to work for it. You got to know when God don't even want you to work for it.
Because it's
Mm.
He like,
easy.
I'm
It's
just,
easy for him. It's
he
already
gonna, it's gonna
ours.
be easy.
Yep.
It's gonna
You're
be
right.
easy. I just feel like it's gonna be easy. It don't look like it because of where he's making me be still at. Who wanna be still on chemo? Who wanna be
Right.
still, you know, with new diseases that, you like 1 out of 100 people in the world, who wants that kind of stillness? But God is like, I will manipulate whatever I gotta do to get you to myself so that you know that in everything I'm God. And that's why
Absolutely.
identity is more important than anything this season. Know who you are. So when he calls your name, you will respond. And that's
Yes.
it.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a talk. This has been
Thank
a
you.
very
This
good
was
talk. And I appreciate the conversation with you all. Next week, we have Pamela Wheeler. She is the founding director of the Business Center. And what the Business Center does is it helps entrepreneurs become socially and economically sustainable in the business. They are funding people, they are teaching, they are honoring young people, they're teaching young people how to start businesses. And we have the actual founder coming on. She's going to talk to us about um, how to just grow our business and pitch our business. We're going to talk about a pitch competition. We're going to talk about how to find funding for your business. We're going to talk about all the good stuff that she's known, and she's been doing this business center. It's worldwide. They have gotten tons of awards for the content and the people and the business owners that they help. I was
Yes.
at an event for them on Friday. Man, there were $1 million businesses, Black owned businesses in that place there.
Mm.
And they all come out of her institution, and she's going to share that knowledge with us next week on the 20th. So if
Deb,
you
can I
are
share
listening, go
information?
ahead. Yeah,
No,
Mhm.
go ahead.
I
Say what?
wanted to, no, I'm asking if I can share out this information for next week, if I can
Oh,
share it.
definitely. Oh,
Okay.
definitely. Please do. Please do. Hey, Rob. So, we're just about wrapping up, but I
Hey
will send
there.
you the link. Send you the link. We were talking about resilience, Robin, and I know you know well, too well, how to be resilient in your business. You want to share real quickly a tip that you use to keep you motivated and being resilient?
Um, yes. Hey, hi everybody.
Hi, Rob.
How y'all
Hi.
doing? Hey,
Good.
love.
Doing
How
good.
y'all doing?
Great.
We're
Good.
good.
Um, motivated for me. I try to tell myself that I can, and I take can't out.
Mm.
And
Yes.
even when I'm feeling, a despair, I remember what and the reason why I started in the beginning. What
Mm.
was my reason for
Yeah.
starting? And that makes me motivated because I love creating. I love to hear and see people smile. And that's my motivator. That's my push. When I see other people, getting theirs, and I say, okay, if they, you know, reinventing, I can reinvent myself. So that's my motivator. It's being reinventing yourself. Reinvent, you know, it's sort of like reset. You reset no matter where you are and no matter where you going. It's okay to start over. It's okay because you're not a failure. That doesn't mean that you failed. It means that some stuff that you need to do, you just need to do differently. So that's my
Mm.
motivator. I just take can't out and put I can. And I
Mm.
just remember the scripture says, can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. That's my motivator. That's my
Mm.
push.
Yes. That's wonderful.